One morning, as I was pregnant with my second child, labor pains began. My daughter worriedly looks at me as I sit down. "Daddy, take mommy to the hospital," with a nonchalant expression. My husband ties his tie as our daughter cries out tearfully. Then my husband turns back and gives an annoyed look towards us.
That's impossible. I have a business trip now.
Huh? Ignoring my distress, my husband fetches a suitcase from his room and heads to the entrance. I'm having contractions and can't move."
Well, do your best, won't you?
At the moment the front door slammed shut before my eyes, I exploded. Leaving a wife in labor alone and going on a business trip? What is he thinking? I will never forgive him. A week later, my husband came home from his business trip and spoke to our daughter over the intercom.
"Daddy's back. Is that baby brother cute?"
"He's not here anymore."
Huh?
After this, my foolish husband would experience hell. My name is Melanie Singer, and I'm 33 years old. I'm a working mother raising children. First, I want to talk about the events leading up to this. In my parents' house, the Singer family, there's my 62-year-old father and my brother, who is 4 years older than me. My mother passed away when I was in elementary school due to illness. I still remember my gentle and frail mother. My father and brother did their best to support and raise me, while I mourned the loss of my mother. My father is a high school physical education teacher and a judo practitioner. My brother, who was trained by my father from a young age, is also a judo expert. Both of them have a sturdy physique and might have seemed intimidating to outsiders. However, they are kind people who poured their love into me and did their best to raise me. I could never thank my father and brother enough. After graduating from college, I became an ordinary office worker. In my late 20s, a senior colleague organized a blind date for me, knowing that I didn't have a boyfriend. There, I met Jonathan Spencer, who would later become my husband. Jonathan works as a sales manager in a different company and is said to be excellent at his job. After 2 years of dating, he proposed to me, and we happily became engaged. Next, it was time to visit my family and formally announce our engagement. Since I had been raised so protectively by my father and brother, I wondered what I would do if they were to say our daughter won't do it. I had thought about it, but then my father, with tears in his eyes, told me,
"I can't believe Melanie's getting married. Mom in heaven must be so happy. You deserve to be happy."
My brother also said with an extremely excited expression,
"Congratulations on your marriage. Please give my regards to Jonathan as well."
I remember feeling on the verge of tears, seeing my father and brother like that. Afterward, we went to Jonathan's parents' house to pay our respects. My in-laws were kind, sensible people, which was a relief. We were blessed by each other's families and officially registered our marriage. After that, we rented an apartment midway between our families and started living together. Jonathan helped a lot with household chores, so I was enjoying a happy newlywed life. Then, just 6 months into our marriage, my pregnancy was confirmed. Jonathan was overjoyed by this news too. As soon as I entered the stable period, I reported the pregnancy to both sets of in-laws and my father and brother. They were all extremely delighted, especially my father and brother.
"I'm going to have a grandchild. There's nothing that makes me happier. Melanie, take care of yourself, okay?" So I'm going to be an uncle? I'm looking forward to it.
My in-laws also showed care for my well-being, telling Jonathan, Make sure to support her properly. Thanks to those words, Jonathan stepped up and supported me greatly, taking on tasks and responsibilities. Eventually, I gave birth to our first child, a daughter. Blessed by both families, I was at the peak of happiness. After that, Jonathan and I began raising our child. He couldn't take paternity leave, so I ended up taking the lead in childcare. However, it was much more challenging than I had imagined. Our daughter cried a lot at night and was quite demanding, making it very hands-on. When I hold her, she sleeps, but the moment I lay her down on the bed, she starts crying intensely. Because of this, I had to carry our daughter around constantly. Initially, Jonathan helped with childcare, but gradually, he started slacking off. Furthermore, when our daughter began crying at night, he started saying things like this.
It's so noisy. Hey, make Courtney stop crying already.
Night crying can't be helped. There's nothing I can do. While soothing Courtney, I replied like that. But he still seemed annoyed.
I have field work for my job again tomorrow. Let me get some sleep.
I haven't had a decent night's sleep for days either. Jonathan, can't you change things up a bit once in a while?
Huh? Why me? You're on childcare leave, and I'm working during the day.
But the kid is ours. Jonathan didn't listen to those words till the end. He just clicked his tongue and fell asleep in the living room. It's said in childcare magazines that even couples who have been close can become tense when faced with a significant challenge of childcare. However, during pregnancy, we were getting along just fine. I had convinced myself somewhere in my heart that it wouldn't affect us. Yet, I never imagined Jonathan and I would end up in such an awkward situation. While grappling with our relationship, I had no choice but to focus entirely on childcare right in front of me. Jonathan continued not to help much with childcare or household chores afterward, leaving me to handle most of it on my own. In addition, around the time Courtney turned 2 years old, Jonathan started being absent from home often, citing his busy work schedule. Nevertheless, I didn't say anything, thinking, he's working for the family. A while after Courtney turned 3, my second pregnancy was confirmed. When I informed Jonathan, his reaction was nonchalant. I felt a bit let down, but we received blessings from both families again. However, this time the burden was heavier. I experienced intense seasickness-like symptoms all day and couldn't even get up. When I explained the situation to my workplace, they suggested taking a break from work, which I gratefully accepted. Thus, I ended up staying at home, battling nausea every day. While managing to handle Courtney's childcare, I found myself increasingly unable to tackle household chores. On that day, I couldn't get up in the morning and lay down at home, unable to do anything. Then Jonathan, who came home late, called out to me.
Hey, what are you sleeping for? Where's my meal?
I managed to handle Courtney's portion, but I wasn't feeling well enough to prepare yours. I bought some frozen food. I'm sorry, but can we just use that?
Huh? You've been home all day and you're neglecting the chores.
Jonathan spat out these words with irritation. I tried to make him understand this difficulty, but he wouldn't listen. In fact, he said with a stern face,
Listen, pregnancy isn't an illness. Don't use it as an excuse to avoid work or chores. Make dinner now.
Before I could retort, nausea hit me, and I rushed into the bathroom. Despite that, Jonathan continued to throw sharp words at my back.
Don't think you can back out like that.
I don't intend to. It's really tough on my body. In the bathroom, as I struggled to respond, Courtney, looking concerned, gently stroked my back. Upon seeing this, Jonathan let out a deliberately loud sigh.
Just do what you're supposed to do. If there's no food next time, you won't hear the end of it.
In the end, I had to muster strength that day to make his meal. He was kind during the pregnancy with Courtney, so why did he change like this? Despite my confusion, I continued to live with Jonathan overworked. Instead of showing concern for me during pregnancy, my husband continued to demand perfect housework and childcare as before, even though he was often away from home. If my housework wasn't done to his liking, I would be lectured for a long time while sitting on the floor. That life became so unbearable that thoughts of divorce crossed my mind many times. However, thinking of my father, brother, and parents who were happy about the marriage, I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I was desperately enduring the thought of taking away the father from Courtney and our unborn child. As the due date approached, I asked Jonathan to stay home as much as possible. However, he continued to work overtime without listening. It was exactly 1 week before the due date. I started feeling abdominal pain in the middle of the night. I thought it was too early, but when I checked the intervals, contractions were coming every 20 minutes. It's finally happening. I have to go to the hospital. Soon, the night passed, and it became morning. I told Jonathan as he woke up, "Jonathan, I think I'm having contractions. Could you?" However, Jonathan completely ignored it. He passed by me and started getting ready. Then, the pain in my stomach became intense, and I sat down right there. As I groaned, Courtney ran over worried. "Mom, are you okay? Is your tummy hurting?" "Courtney, the baby will be born soon, so Mom..." I was about to say more, but then the pain hit me again. "Dad, take Mom to the hospital!" With a frustrated expression, Courtney yelled diagonally at Jonathan, who was calmly tying his tie. In response, Jonathan turned around and gave an annoyed look.
That's impossible. I have a business trip coming up."
"Huh?" I was speechless, and Jonathan, without a word, went to his room to get a suitcase and headed to the front door. "Can't you see? I'm in labor and can't move."
"Well, do your best then."
The moment the front door slammed shut in front of me, I snapped. "Leaving your wife in labor right in front of you for a business trip? What is he thinking? I will never forgive him." But right now, I don't have the luxury to think about Jonathan. I sent a message to the WhatsApp group with my father and brother asking for help. 30 minutes later, my father and brother, who had changed their plans, arrived at the apartment. They desperately tried to comfort me as I wailed at the entrance.
"Hey, are you okay? Let's get in the car quickly. I will take you there."
My brother said so and lifted me up. Father, perplexed, held Courtney's hand as he followed.
"What on earth is Jonathan doing at a time like this?"
As we got into the car and the waves of pain subsided, I talked about Jonathan's whereabouts. Upon hearing this, my father and brother were resolute.
"Jonathan doing that? No. First we have to focus on your delivery. Don't worry. We are both here with you."
And so, we arrived at the hospital. By that time, the contractions were occurring every 5 minutes, and I was soon placed on the delivery table. Afterward, I gave birth to a baby boy. The midwife mentioned that if the progress had been any slower, It could have been quite problematic. While Courtney peered at her brother with curiosity, my father told me something.
Melanie, I've been thinking a bit.
Upon hearing my father's words, I decided to go along with it. As it was my second child, I was discharged from the hospital 5 days later. Instead of going home, I went straight back to my parents' house. From the birth until then, I hadn't been able to contact Jonathan. About a week after the birth, as Courtney and I were working in our old house, the intercom at the entrance rang. It was Jonathan, who had come over. At my request, Courtney answered the intercom. Dad?
Hey, Courtney, Dad is back. Is that baby brother cute?
To which Courtney replied, He's not here anymore.
Huh?
That kid went far away. At that, my husband on the screen's face paled, as if it were amusing. After a while, we heard footsteps running down the apartment hallway. The door unlocked, and my husband came in.
Hey, Melanie, what's going on? The baby's gone? Only Courtney and I are in the room. There are several cardboard boxes stacked behind us.
I tried to ignore him and get back to work, but Jonathan shouted again.
Hey, where's our son? No way.
Seeing my husband's pale face, I trembling lips, I calmly informed him. If you mean our son, he's at my parents' house.
So, if he's not here, that's why you're not here.
Then, my husband seems to relax and sat down right there. I was a bit surprised that he still harbored such feelings.
Oh, this is getting confusing. I was sure it was a nightmare. Hey, what is all these cardboard boxes?
Well, I'm moving back to my parents' house.
What? What are you talking about? Saying such selfish things.
Jonathan turns bright red and shouts.
What's the meaning of going back to your parents' house and leaving your husband behind like this?
Then, my father appeared from the back room.
Oh, Dad?
Jonathan harbors an inferiority complex towards my father, who is a judo expert. Seeing my well-built father, he shrinks back.
What on earth are you doing? Well, you see, I tried to contact you somehow, so I contacted your company instead of my daughter. Then, they said you weren't on a business trip, but taking a day off, and at such a busy time it seems. Huh? Even colleagues I know were saying the same. They said your family members fell ill and had to be hospitalized. It was inconvenient because of the important meetings, but you had to take time off due to that. So who got hospitalized? Actually, it was my mom.
Jonathan was growing paler by the moment.
I contacted your mom just to check, and both your mom and dad are perfectly fine.
As Jonathan's eyes swam in my father's words, I sighed. It wasn't really a business trip or taking care of the family, was it? It was more like a cheating excursion, wasn't it?
Huh? There's no way that's true. What are you talking about?
At that point, I pulled out several photos. There were messages with another woman confirming the affair and explicit pictures.
What's this all about?
I looked into WhatsApp from your computer. So you've been exchanging messages using WhatsApp, huh? With a junior colleague from work? You're quite the player, even though you're married.
No, it's not like that with her. It's just a casual thing.
Before Jonathan could finish, my father executed a perfect clean shoulder throw on him. Thrown directly onto the floor, Jonathan groaned in pain.
I will let you off easy this time. But the pain my daughter endured is not something like this.
To my groaning husband, I presented the filled-out divorce papers. You and I are divorcing. Both kids' custody is mine. You will pay for that fare and our daughter's expenses properly. The rest, let this jerk fall into hell on his own. Ooh. Afterward, I packed up with my father, took Courtney's hand, and left the scene. Later, Jonathan and I divorced. I received a settlement of $30,000, and he agreed to pay monthly child support of $1,000. Of course, I also demanded compensation from his affair partner. Apparently, the two finally broke up after a dispute over the matter. By reporting the affair at work, had rumors about Jonathan spread, leading to the affair partner resigning voluntarily and Jonathan being demoted. Jonathan, rumored to be a despicable jerk at work, cannot quit his job due to child support, and is now living in hell working every day. He will not be able to get ahead in life. He will lose his family, and even if he works, most of it will disappear to child support. Jonathan leads such a life, and I have no sympathy for him. Instead, I consider it just retribution. On the other hand, we moved back to our parents' house and started a new life. Courtney, who originally had little attachment to her father, seems unaffected by our divorce. As it turns out, my brother is a muscular childcare worker, so handling Courtney goes smoothly, which honestly helps a lot. I want to continue cherishing my family, looking forward to my children's growth with love, and embracing life brightly.